Three, six, three, two. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of Entab CampusCare EdTalks, an exclusive platform where the stalwarts of education come on board and express their viewpoint on curbing topics related to education. Before I begin, let me quickly introduce you to Entab. We are a 20-year-old IT company engaged in providing mature and futuristic school ERP, CRM, mobile apps to the schools spread across India and helps in transforming them from good schools to great ones. In today's session of Ed Talks, we shall discuss about that should sign language be a part of school curriculum. According to 2011 census, roughly 1.3 people in India are suffering from hearing impaired. Even our school teachers are not trained to teach in sign language, and because of which large number of children opt out of the school, which is a very serious thing. So to discuss, let's welcome our panelists for today. Please welcome Ms. Tanushri Bhattacharya, the principal of AK Children Academy, Ghaziabad in UP. For her contributions to the field of education, ma'am has been bestowed with Guru Dronacharya Award, the Promising Principal Award, and the Avantika Atal Samman, and many more accolades under her belt. Welcome on board, ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you.
Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Next up, we have Mukesh Shelat, sir, the principal of Delhi Public School, Varanasi, UP. Sir has proficient experience in millennial education, leadership, differentiated instruction, experiential learning, and learning through theatre. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, last but not the least, we have Mrs. Shailja Reddy, the principal of Pallavi Model School, Bovanpalli in Hyderabad. In her educational journey of more than 2 decades, ma'am has been honored with Dr. S. Radhakrishna Samman, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award, the School Excellence Award, and many more accolades under her belt. Welcome on board, ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, in case to those who are watching me on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? And please also press on the bell icon to stay regularly updated. All right. So, moving forward now, for more than last 3 decades, ma'ams and sir, DD News has been presenting its bulletin in sign language. I remember this for a fact because that memory is clearly imprinted in my mind where that lady goes and she does the sign language. But India still does not recognize it as an official language under the constitution. What are your thoughts on the same? Let's begin with Tanushri, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So I think, as you have said, that we have seen in the DD news long time back that one news anchor was always on the side and doing with the sign language. I think, like in 2011 census, as you have mentioned, 1.3 million people are suffering from hearing. We also call them that they have certain problem, maybe from mild to moderate to severe hearing impairment. Now, for them, it is very, very necessary that we now take up that Indian Sign Language as the official language in our constitution, as we have given importance to other languages.
Right.
And this will benefit our friends who are not able to hear properly, and even for some old people also it can help if they have been taught in school. So this is a very important step, and I think NEP is going to take it up as National Education Policy, which has been recently released and introduced to. It is going to take up the sign language. So we are very hopeful that it will be taken up in school as well as in college.
Right. Wonderful. Shailja, ma'am, one of the prime reasons why it's not a part of a curriculum, I'm pretty sure, is because teachers are not trained. There is not a single trained person who can teach us sign language. Do you think this should change and we should have a dedicated person? Like, for example, we always have a French teacher, we have a German teacher, we have a Spanish teacher in our school. Should there be a specific dedicated teacher for teaching sign language?
A good question. First of all, let me congratulate you for picking up this topic. It's awesome. Thank you.
By the
Good
way, it
that you've
was
taken it
actually
up.
my choice. It
And
was my choice.
all the people who are listening, YouTube, please go and tweet to Narendra Modi that if we really want to make this nation inclusive, then sign language should be added in our curriculum as one of the options for children. Only then will we be able to bring in the awareness, and we can stand by the fact what we are trying to say in our new NEP, that inclusivity is very important. The children who need this kind of support go out and seek this in different schools, where they are taught this specially. They are not a part of the mainstream schooling, so which is very sad. And also this will help the younger generation, the so-called not hearing impaired public, to realize and understand the challenges that the people who are having this difficulty face, and also include them in their life very easily. And even if someone wants to communicate, they hesitate because they do not know how to express. So this will help. And also the fact that NEP is doing some research in involving and including everyone, I think this is the right time to bring up such topics and points and take it up. So I think this is a good start. The conversation itself is a good start. And let me tell you one more thing, that the B.Ed education does have a lesson when we were doing our B.Ed about special education. There is a chapter,
Really?
and we do learn. But then as we progress in our teaching lives, we forget about that. So there is a lesson. It is just that we have to bring it back. So it's not that teachers have not touched upon this concept at all. And then there are special educators who take it up and they get involved. They have to choose it as a special stream for them to be able to do it in the deliver it in the schools. But then B.Ed curriculum has this as a part of their lessons, so it's there. It's only that now people have to rise awake and include it and
Right.
make it inclusive.
Right. And I'll be very honest, Shailja ma'am, to be very honest, how I picked up this topic was I was watching a advertisement campaign by Samsung, and wherein what they did was for a guy, hearing impaired guy, and it's his birthday. So what they did was every person he met during that day knew sign language. And a month prior to that particular day, Samsung arranged classes for them to just learn one or two sentences for different people. Just imagine walking down on the street, somebody's apple fell, and they congratulated him in a sign language, right?
Yeah.
So that's when I thought, if these things are taught in school, then the life of these people can become so easy.
Yes, you're right. Sometimes children hesitate to
Mm.
communicate just because they do not know how to communicate with a person who can't hear properly. So
Right.
it's not that children do not want to include, but there is no way that they can learn it. So if we at least make it available in the schools as an option, I am sure when many will pick it up. The smaller aspect of it I would see is employability, because the sign language. Those are things that come much later. But because of the inclusion of this in the curriculum, you sensitize the public more towards people who need this actually, and who are waiting there out there looking forward to communicate with the rest of the world with ease and comfort, so that they feel that they're a part of the world. That is important.
Right. All right, Mukesh, sir, how important is it to learn sign language for everyone? To communicate with people who are hearing impaired, which they are likely to meet in their school. For example, I had somebody in my school who was hearing impaired. And, social gatherings and all those things. How important is it to actually learn sign language, and how difficult it might be?
It may not be difficult at all, but before I answer that question, I think I'd like to have a little take on the other two questions that you had.
Sure, sure, sure.
Yes, it's important to be a part of the constitution. If we can have this as an official language, nothing like it. But to start a conversation, we perhaps don't need that kind of a constitutional, mandate on that. We can, as very sensitive individuals, do this. For instance, I remember when I was a young boy and in college, we used to have something called dump studs. Now, for dumb charades, we had our own grammar, we had our own syntax. And if that was not sign language, what was sign language? Look at all our classical dances. They are full of mudras and a lot of symbolism is there. So, Indian culture is replete with alternative forms of language, which does not have to be auditory all the time. So, it's not difficult for Indians to get into a sign language. It's very easy. For instance, I mean, in my school, wherever I have been over the past 15 years, we've started this ever since I saw what we call the silent national anthem on the YouTube. We got our children to learn this. And for the first time, when we had this, national anthem in the form of a sign language song, some of our parents were up in arms and they said, "Oh, how can the children move when you have, a national anthem?" I mean, so that kind of traditional thought that we have, we need to get out of. So after that, what we have done, at every function, we do have the silent national anthem happening. At every assembly, once in a week, every assembly, we have the silent national anthem happening. Then, based on that, our dance teachers and our children themselves devise sign language for Vande Mataram, for the song Sare Jahan Se Acha. So, in this way, we kind of sensitize children to get into this mode where we have this inclusive education. Now, inclusive education is a mandate for all of us. But how many schools are actually forward enough, progressive enough to even include non-hearing impaired children? For instance, autistic children or people with Down syndrome. So schools need to take this as a challenge. They need to sensitize parents, the parent body, the children. And believe me, this generation is so tolerant, unlike our generation who used to be very traditional and, we used to brand people. For instance, the other day we had a seminar, we had a webinar on the LGBT rights, and our children came up with such beautiful presentations, and we had an interview. So I think this generation is very sensitive. We as adults need to expose them to these things. Train our teachers. We don't need one particular teacher like we have a counselor. I believe that every teacher needs to be a counselor. And therefore, every teacher should learn the sign language first, so that in case, the children are there in a particular class, whether it's an English teacher or a math teacher, they kind of help out, and the children learn the sign language. And believe me, the children love it.
Right.
They can come out with their own sign language, as I said.
To be very honest, that's what when you were talking about it, I remember that me and my best friend or me and my cousin, we have our own signs. That like for example, if one of us is about to get screwed, we are like, "Boss, what lagi hai?" So we have our own signs, right? Very, very aptly mentioned. All right, Tanushri ma'am. In your opinion, how can teaching sign language in schools can open more career options? Like Shailja ma'am just mentioned about that, kids might have much more career
Yes.
options. So, and since it is not that frequent, so there might be very little competition in the field.
Yes, you're right in pointing out that we can have sign language as a third language first, because CBSE also says that from 6 to 8 you have to take third language. We are taking French, German, Spanish, Chinese, and other languages. Why not sign language? If we take naturally, CBSE itself has almost 23,000 schools. 23,000 schools means everybody will be employing teachers of sign language. So naturally, the employability will go up. And when children will learn, as Shailja ma'am and Mukesh sir has also told, that the awareness and sensitivity is very important among children and parents and public at large. I mean, this is for the children who are going to learn, and it is not necessary that hearing impaired should learn. Others can also learn, because as you said, and even ma'am has pointed that we used to play dumb charade earlier, and sir also said that this was it is not that it was not there in our culture or as a part of life. It was there, but maybe in fun and entertainment. As you said that something when we were getting screwed up, we took the help of sign language with our maybe sibling, our friends. So that was there, but it was not. It is not entered in the main curriculum. Now we, as more and more awareness grows and sensitivity, and as we all know that NEP is coming with it. So it's a very welcome move, and it should come as a third language from 6 to 8, or rather from class 4th we can start. Because class 4th also, because we have seen that the small children, they learn language very fast.
Very quickly, much more quicker than other people.
Yes,
Right?
yes, and they can help the other children. They can help their parents. I mean, we may not be hearing impaired. May have, some people have the old people at home, their grandparents, so they may be having some hearing problem. So that can also be sorted out, because otherwise, generally they are made fun of. What we see, because that is what is the, so we can they can change the society, and the employability will grow up. And in higher education lacks, this the children who are hearing impaired in India, in Indian university, the scope is very less. I have done some research after this topic, and I saw that in Indian university it is not there, but abroad people go and then do their engineering, their management, and so many things.
One thing which I wanted to point out here was, with all due respect and with your permission, ladies and gentlemen, to be very honest, we have a very small, no, I haven't seen any major advancement in terms of technology as well in these things.
Mm.
Until and unless we do not take this seriously, I don't think so. No new innovation or something of that sort will ever come up, right? If we do not generalize it, that what, you have to do this, like for example you have to learn English or you have to learn Hindi, then tell that. Shailja ma'am, what do you think?
Yeah, true. I'll tell you one small example. The other day, when we were discussing about preparing masks and distributing it in public, so one of the children said, "Ma'am, why not put a symbol for someone who's hearing impaired? Because now that we are wearing masks, the lip movement also cannot be
Mm.
seen. So, let us distribute masks so that those who are hearing impaired, they have difficulty. If we give them out, they can wear this, and so the innovation. I mean, this is what sensitizing people. Like you
Yeah,
said, the Samsung ad came up. There are so many other things I've seen when President of India, President of America was taking over, and
Joe Biden. Yeah, yeah,
most of his addresses,
yeah.
you have a person who's translating it for the hearing impaired audience. So there, that shows, that at least they are making an effort to show that they care.
Right.
The extent to which they care, I mean, that's debatable. But however, there is a good beginning, and everybody feels
Ma'am, but
included.
that's what I'm saying. When I was a
Very
kid,
important.
I used to watch DD News, and DD News had a proper segment.
Yes,
Yes,
they have.
I remember
Yes.
Still
this.
have.
है
It
ना?
still has.
हाँ, they
they
still
they
have.
still have, sir.
But somehow they have not moved beyond the news. They have to move beyond that. They have to get into the classrooms. I think it is going to happen.
हाँ,
And we request all the YouTube viewers also to go out there and tweet and promote this thought,
Mm.
and then help them Entab in
yeah,
taking it forward. And
sure. We are
Mukesh sir, your
definitely going to.
examples were very good. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
Yeah,
your
yeah,
insights.
Mukesh,
All
sir,
of
one
that.
more thing which I wanted to add was, I remember whenever I used to, office ki jo, there's a lift here, right? And I was noticing that the lift had braille on it, the
Mm.
buttons. So the numbers were like reverse L, and then numbers are
Correct.
written like 5 is 2 dots and 4 is 3 dots and
Mm.
something. So I just, if a layman like me can pick up numbers, what is the symbol for numbers and everything, I'm pretty sure it's very easy. It's not that difficult. So thank you
True.
so much, Tanushri ma'am. Thank you so much, Sharja ma'am. Thank you so much, Mukesh sir. Wonderful examples by you. And I will have a definitely. I am going to have this drive of sign language, because this is something very close to my heart. Because it is actually something which I want to sensitize the public about as well. So do stay connected with us. I'm going to have a much more bigger roundtable on this discussion as well, so that the larger the impact. So I'm going to
Uh,
invite you all in for that as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for giving me
uh,
your valuable
Thank
time.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
And
All the
thank
best
you.
in all your endeavors.
thank you
Yes,
God
so
yes.
much,
bless you.
Sharja ma'am.
We
Thank you,
are
and
there with you. Just a
very
call.
good endeavor, and very good this topic.
Thank you so much, Tanushri ma'am.
And
आप लोगों का
just
आशीर्वाद बना रहे.
yes,
Thank
and
you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.